Hey RSGTV subscribers, it's Matt Spencer. A few disclosures. I am a licensed real estate agent in the state of Virginia, and I am a realtor with Fathom Realty. I'm coming at you from 136 Bobwhite Lane in Franklin, Virginia. It's a property that me and my partner just renovated, and it is on the market for sale currently. It is a 4-bedroom, 3 full baths. The square footage is about 2934, so just under 3,000 square feet. The list price is $269,900. The house is sitting at about $90 a square foot. If you go anywhere in Suffolk, Norfolk, Portsmouth, even some areas of Virginia Beach, typical renovated houses, typical new construction, you'll see them kind of going from 140 to 155 a square foot. And then if there's a lot of land and big garages, a waterfront, that all changes things too. But typically 155 is a pretty good number of what you're going to pay for a renovated house. Franklin, on the outskirts of Hampton Roads, some would say I guess it's not Hampton Roads, but out here, a renovated house goes for about $90 a square foot to maybe $118 a square footage. The size plays a huge role out here because you've got some awesome old Victorian houses that are 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 square feet. Well, they can't obviously get $90 or 100 square foot or the house would be $1 million. So smaller renovated houses, you can get 118, 120. The larger renovated houses, you start dropping below 100. I did a few out here previous year before last, and they all were like $97 a square foot based off the sale price. So anyway, I wanted to show you a little bit about this house. I'm sorry I don't have a startup video or before and after video. Of course I have before and after pictures, which I'll get linked to my website soon enough. Check the description, the comments, all that good stuff for as I upload things like that. But follow me around the house. I'm going to tell you some maybe tips and tricks, talk about some reasons why we had to do certain things, some issues with the house, just the way it was built. It looks like it has 2 additions, probably two different eras. One's all brick, one is vinyl. The house flows pretty good, and I think we did a few things to help with that. But anyway, follow me around and check it out. Hey guys, one thing I forgot to mention in the initial opening comments was that the property is listed with Cross Realty. Lee Cross, Harry Cross, absolutely great people. There's also a lot of people cutting grass out here, so I don't know if you can hear me or not. But anyway, if you got any questions, you can call me or the listing agent, which is Lee Cross. Again, almost 3,000 square feet. The driveway is lined with what I think is some crepe myrtles or some form of. Carport. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was the crawl space here. Everything I touched last year ended up being a lot of crawl space work, this being one of them. We had to replace several floor joists, several beams. We had the crawl space encapsulated, which means there's a couple different ways that you can talk about encapsulation. The type we did, and the type that's done mostly in our line of work, I would say, is a layer of plastic. Some people leave a little bit of dirt showing so it can breathe. They do a dehumidifier, seal off the vents, and seal off the doors. There's another form of encapsulation where it's more like when we used to build houses, when I used to work construction, where we actually run foam up the side walls. And I mean, we use like a putty and a foam filler and everything to truly encapsulate it. But this is what most people call encapsulation now. Anyway, you'll see the vents, or lack thereof. So one of the issues that when you start flipping houses, start working on houses, looking at houses to buy for yourself, one thing to look at is this house, the foliage was totally grown up on the house. You got a carport here that doesn't necessarily breathe right. And then as you see, once we get around the back, there's 2 additions. So there's also an original foundation wall that runs down the back of the house. So what we have is a lack of airflow. You got way overgrown shrubs, tall grass, in addition, a carport, and the house just couldn't breathe. If someone had just installed some fans under the house from the get-go, it'd probably be a different story. But anyway, so we did a full encapsulation and new HVAC. I have a door in my truck for that. Second crawl space door, third crawl space door. I've been buying these $120 black plastic crawl space doors, which I think look really good, but I got these doors made 35 bucks at the sheet metal place that just opened in Franklin. They were like more towards Carsville and Isle of Wight, but now they're in Franklin. Some trash I need to get out of here and just haven't done it yet. The house does have a shed. We have a survey done. We always have a survey done. I always urge my clients to have a survey done. And you say, there's fences, there's property lines, the neighbor's house. Yeah, all that's great, especially when everybody's getting along. But when you live there and somebody else lives there and it's not the original neighbors that were getting along, and your dog does something or your weed eater throws a rock or something, the survey is nice to have because you never know where the real property lines are. But anyway, survey here should go back to not the tall tree line, but the second set where all this rough grass is. So all this is included. The back left is an office, a flex room, kids room, whatever you want to call it. It's got some built-in, so it's a nice office. The vinyl section on the back right is actually the master suite, which you'll see on the inside. The house also has a new roof that was done by Stublin Roofing, who typically takes care of all my roofing needs. We try hard with samples and all to get colors that look right with the mortar and the brick. And the samples are tough because they're so small. I can't remember if it's stuff either looks darker once you put it on the roof or either it looks lighter, but something to definitely look into. We wanted to wrap all of the trim in metal. It's like a trim coil. The guys come out, bend, kind of like gutter work, but covers all your wood. The wood here wasn't in bad shape. It was just flaking and peeling. And as you can see, it's got really pretty dental. And it's just a shame because to wrap that, we'd come out on the face of it and then wrap the bottom. So it would just look like a squared off edge. And we had all the exterior wood scraped, sanded, pressure washed, painted, you name it. They got it looking pretty good. We'll check out the inside. Of course, if we can keep the hardwood floors, we always try to. When we got the place, this second living room, this den, was carpeted. I think I actually posted a picture on Facebook. It was protected pretty good, but it had never been finished. Like it never had a poly coating, so the few stains it did have so it took some effort to get those stains out. But this is the, I guess, formal living room. Dining room. Kitchen layout didn't really change. More cabinets, but the same design pretty much as what was here. We didn't move any walls. One thing we did was, this was still a normal gridded exterior window, and took that out and had a piece of granite made, do like a little bar top. There's a room back here we'll talk about in a minute, but one of the thoughts was it might be a good spot to keep kids' toys, playroom area, or even just a little office, but you could see your kids, you could pass stuff through, so we left that open. Laundry room, cabinets are here. One thing I always try to do is buy matching appliance sets. I see some people's houses I go into, like Flippers renovated, and it's scratch and dents from all the different manufacturers, and we strive to always make stuff match the best as possible. I'll call this the office. It's got some built-ins. We had those lightly sanded and like a thin coat of like a poly put on them. So this was what we think once was an addition. I mean, it had to be. This wall right here, super thick. Typical wall should be, just the casing. It's got a little bit of a bump. The subfloor is at a different height. We're guessing that the French doors used to lead out to a deck or just the outside steps. So kind of think this was addition number 1. And then out here, we're guessing was addition 2, which is also part of the master. Two closets, exposed brick, kitchen pass-through. Save the master bedroom for later. So like I said, the house is a 4-bedroom, 3 full bath. Down here is the original bedrooms. I'm going to go straight to the original master, which would be here. Sorry though. It's the end of the day, the lights are kind of dark. The lighting is kind of dark. Original 2 bathrooms, we didn't do a whole lot to. We fixed quite a bit of sheetrock in this room. New vanity, new granite. You could call it bedroom 2, just a spare or kid's bedroom. This one we're calling bedroom 1, pretty much the same size as bedroom 2. So you've got 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, original master suite, and the hall bath. The second addition the house had at some point in time, again, was this breezeway and this killer master suite. My first house, my bedroom would fit in this room 4 times. Walk-in closet. And there's still also, you'll see in the video, there's a couple little loose ends, like around that window. That window was a back order of some sort, so we didn't do the trim around it yet. Also a little bit of baseboard left to do in here. Originally we're thinking about adding a second sink, and I took a poll of several ladies and a few guys, and the area for just a chair and a makeup area definitely seemed to be the more popular option, to my surprise. Where's the light? And that's pretty much the house. Lessons learned, do's and don'ts. It took too long, and that's my fault. Last year I bit off more than I could chew. Last fall, got really busy. Sales are my number one priority. So if I work 40 to 70 hours a week doing real estate sales, then the flips just get behind. And something I've been working on, and I was also a lot more hands-on in the past. And now I've become more of a orchestrator, I guess you could say, and working with the contractors. I always left lots of jobs for myself to do because I like doing it, but it's not the smart option. The smart option is to pay the people that can do it fast and do it right the first time. Anyway, that's about it. The crawl space, we knew what we were getting into. That's one reason we didn't have a lot of competition, I think, buying the house was it definitely needed some work. Everything can be fixed. It's just how much. And if you know the right people, obviously all licensed contractors. But I'm just saying we don't go out and call the 1-800 numbers you hear on the radio that might rip your face off. We got guys we trust, people I use on my own house. The people I use for the flips typically are the pickiest people I know. That way, no matter what buyer rolls through, no matter what agent brings an inspector, I've already got one of the pickiest groups of guys that I know of that have inspected the house. So I shouldn't have any surprises. But we did the full encapsulation, which is awesome. I mean, the crawl space, you can go down there and hang out and eat off it if you want to. As clean as can be. Franklin's also a tough market with contractors. It's hard to find licensed and insured people out here, and that took us a while because I will not use Billy Bob, so-and-so's uncle. If they work on our houses, they're legit. And despite contacts I have in Franklin, a lot of it didn't work out just because they're not licensed and insured. So Franklin is definitely a tough market to get help. This would probably be a good time to interject some information about fireplaces, chimneys, and as far as inspections go. You've got two basic types of fireboxes that I see. You've got wood-burning fireboxes, which is usually the large and what most everybody's used to seeing. And then you have some old ones that I think are for coal. Usually it's only a foot deep. It's a lot narrower. You see them in a lot of old houses in Suffolk, Portsmouth, Norfolk. And typically you see like a set of candles or something decorative sitting in the coal fireplaces. The point of my little off-topic chimney part here is if you're flipping a house or if you're selling a house, if it's got gas logs, make sure they work right, list it as a gas fireplace. If you don't know any better, put a stainless cap on it and say it's been capped off and sealed. That way the rain stays out, squirrels, bugs, birds, whatever, stays out. If you know anything about the fireplace, if you've had an inspection or someone shared an inspection with you and there's issues, as the seller, as the listing agent, as the investor, whatever, you need to disclose that to people. I was calling the coal, the smaller fireboxes decorative, and I've been always calling the other ones wood burning. But over the years, I've learned now that I don't need to write as is in the listing paperwork, but in my mind, in my seller's mind, because I've already talked to them about this, is the fireplace is going to be as is and let it is unless it's perfect and it's a newer house or your gas logs. Buyer, by all means, do your inspections. If you want to pay a couple $100 for a chimney inspection, do it. If you want to ask the seller to fix those things, do it. The seller can fix those things if they want to, but the seller does not have to. By putting as is on a chimney or as is on the firebox in the listing, to me that just is a red flag that like something's wrong. So I just try to call it like I see it and then let the buyer make their decision. But I have learned if the gas logs don't operate properly, if they're older, chances are there's a part missing or there's a button broken, just get rid of it. Take the gas logs out, sell it as a firebox. If the gas logs work, great, sell the house. If if there's known issues with the chimney, disclose it, put a stainless cap on the top, seal it off. Or just wait for a buyer to ask that. You just never know how the chimney and firebox inspections might go. And we have typically not spent the time or money doing those inspections. We let a buyer, because some buyers have desires to use the fireplace, some buyers don't. So it's up to them to do the inspection if they want to know where we stand. Hardwood floors. This room was carpeted and there were some stains, like I said. If I had known that, I may have ran the carpet from like the breezeway into this room and left it carpeted. Because I don't normally do stains. I also paid somebody to do these floors. This is one of the first flips where I paid somebody to restore the floors. And we had to stain it just because they weren't going deep enough to get past the stains, and I'm not sure that they could. And I don't blame them, I understand. They're not here to dig, and then they got to level the whole floor based on how deep they had to go to get rid of the stain, which I've done before, so I know it does work. I know it does work. It's just a lot of work, because then you're crawling around your hands and knees with a level trying to get the floor straightened back out. We thought by doing carpet all the way through, it would kind of tie it all together. It was very choppy when we got the house. The office was like a parquet, which I learned recently you can actually restore. But even knowing that, I just think it looked better carpet, so it all flowed with the rest of the house. But it was like parquet flooring. It was a tile out here, which the color is not bad, and it's actually still there if somebody wanted the tile. And then there was a random, real nasty carpet in here. I just think it all flows better this way. When we got the house, like several lately, it wasn't something you couldn't literally almost move into. It was just nasty, dirty. Typical foreclosures, like they always have lots of decals on the wall, like always kiss me goodnight and live, love, laugh kind of stuff. So yeah, we had those things we had to take off. Kids had free reign in their rooms with paintbrushes and colors. The cut-in wasn't done well, and it was dark color, so that took several coats. But all in all, it wasn't a bad house. With the crawl space encapsulation and the repairs we did, you would never know it from the top. The floors, as you can see, aren't warped. Because all the sanding in the world, you can always tell, pretty much you can always tell when hardwood floors have been exposed to moisture for many, many years, because there's a ripple cupped look on the edges. And despite sanding, I've always been able to pick it out, especially when the glare hits it just right. And as you can see right there, there's nothing. We got the house for $136. It was on the market for several months. I think I started off showing it to a client, and it was just too much work, price point, a lot of reasons it didn't. That's how it came to my attention, actually, because I hadn't really noticed it. I'm typically always looking in the sub 100, sub 125-ish, I guess, price point for a flip. And this one was in the I wish I could tell you. I think it was like 170s, 150s. It was something pretty high. And it kept coming down. We made offers, and the bank just wouldn't take our offer. They wanted like a bidding war, but no one else was bidding on it except for us. And just waited them out a few weeks, asking them to please take my offer, and then they dropped the price. So I dropped my offer. We kept making offers. They wouldn't take it. A listing agent was trying to figure out what the deal was. Just stayed in touch with her, and I think they dropped the price again to like 130 something, and that's when we got it. And no competition, had been on the market for a while. Of course, it hasn't sold yet. I feel confident it'll sell. What it'll sell for, I don't know. One of the issues again out here is these larger homes. You don't get your dollar figures back that you put into them. The ideal house out here is probably like 1,200 square feet to 1,500 square feet. Again, this one's almost 3. But anyway, this wasn't a very good video. I wanted to be more informative, more excited, show you rotting wood and tearing holes out and going in floors. No, that's all to come. This is just a finished product. So it's really just a walk around. And there's gonna be a whole nother time for tips, tricks, flipping, do's and don'ts and all that. I'm trying to just keep this video specifically to this house. And I think that's about it. I hope you enjoyed watching it.